Good morning and welcome back. I'm ready to start the background now, and in preparation for that, I've mixed up 4 different colors. It's a large area that we have to cover with the background, and there's several colors in it, different shades of green and yellow and a little bit of aqua. So I've taken the liberty here of mixing ahead of time so you don't have to watch me mix on video. My first puddle here is a mixture of both yellows. So it's not as lemony and bright as the Cad Lemon, and it's not orange like the Cad Yellow Deep. It's somewhere in the middle, like a nice, pardon me, a nice sturdy yellow. My next puddle is very, very thin. It's very, very watery, and it's just the Winsor Green Yellow shade with just a little bit of the Winsor Blue Red shade mixed together. This is extremely light. I'll show you. It's very watery. It's only going to be a tint of color. That's all I want. My next puddle here is I would say it's the consistency of cream. And it's going to make up a lot of the background. So I made quite a bit of it. And that is a mixture of Winsor Green Yellow shade plus Cad Lemon. And water, of course, but to a consistency of about cream. And that's what that's going to look like. It's very bright. And my last color is a dark that's made with Winsor Green Yellow shade plus the rose color and the Winsor Blue Red shade. And that's all mixed up in here. But I don't quite want it as thick of a consistency as this one here. This is more, I would say, like skim milk. So we've got, for the yellow, I would say it's like a milk consistency. For this one, it's like tea or water. For this one, it's like cream. For this one, it's like milk. And this is a wet into wet procedure that can be a tad daunting, but what we'll try to do is tackle it in parts. What works to our advantage is the fact that we've got spaces in between other things. There's a lot of spaces in between. Where it's going to get more difficult is on the outside where it's a big open space, but we'll just do the best that we can. So if you look at your photograph, you're going to see underneath this petal here, it looks just like this middle, this color here. And then down in here, it's got some of this dark color added into it. So let's start. I'm going to rinse my brush. Okay, I'm going to pick up my brighter color. And I'm coming right up to the petal, right up to the very edge. All right. I'm going to pick up more of this and I'm going to come up from the bottom and just get it in there quickly. And then tap my brush on a paper towel, but not rinse it. Pick up on the tip of my brush the darker color. And just drop some of that in. What I want is for this to swirl around. I can try to coax it where I want it to go with the brush, but I can also, if it's wet enough, pick up the board. Let's see if you can see this now. I'm picking up the board and tilting it, trying to make the paint run. And I can tip the board in all directions if I want to. It's hard for me to get it under the camera so you can see. I can go sideways, either way. It's not moving very much, I think, because the paint is so thick. It'd be a better it is starting to run a little bit. I don't know, there's just something about the wetness of this that's not right. I'm not sure that I liked how this came out. So I'm going to try wetting the surface, wetting the paper before I put any color down and see if that makes a difference in how these colors flow together. Now, I want to be careful with my water to only come right up next to the edge. I don't want to drag the water over the flower because whatever I put into this water will attract the paint that I put down, and the paint will flow exactly where the water is. Okay, let's try this. There's quite a big spot of aqua color right in here. And a little one here. All right. I've thinned down my main mix and hoping that it's going to flow better. Let's see what happens. I will say that it seems to be quite a bit easier directing the paint on the wet background than it was over here. Okay. I'm going to rinse that out, and then I'm going to pick up some of the darker. And I also thinned that down a little bit. And so I'm finding this to be significantly easier than to go on a dry surface. Tip this up. And I want to let the colors mingle. Maybe a little bit more of the aqua. That was a whole lot easier than this over here. So now I've got to try to fix this over here so that it looks more like that. This will be interesting. Oh my, okay. I'm going to get a spray bottle. And I'm going to spray this area and make it wet. Just let that run a little bit. I'm going to tip this again. And use a paper towel to soak up some of it. Let it run off down into the paper towel. Now I'm just wiping on top of some of this yellow in an attempt to bring the yellow back. This paint here is still too thick, so I'm going to spray that again. And you can see, because I have the board tip now, I'm getting a bead of water resting along the tape at the bottom. We want to make sure that we're soaking that up so that that's not collecting next to that tape. Because what will happen is that puddle down there will stay wet when the rest of this dries, and I could get blooms in the paint down at the bottom. But I think I didn't wet it enough right in there. So I'm going to spray a little bit more while this is still tipped. Keep wiping up. If you're seeing that water collect at the bottom, keep wiping your tape so that that doesn't build up there. I'm going to spray in here too. I'm thinking what happened right from the beginning is that I got that main mix too thick and it wouldn't flow. so it was building up instead of flowing into the other colors. And it also didn't help that I was on dry paper, because this is looking nice to me now, the way that it's flowed together. That's much more of what I wanted than what I got here. But I'm going to pick up some of the dark and see if I can get that to flow now. Much, much better, much easier on a wet surface. I'm going to put a little bit more yellow down here too. Okay, I'm happier with that now. Make sure we get this moisture soaked up down here. All right. So now, I think what I'll do is go in between here. I want to make sure you can see. I want to go in between here and head down towards this way, but I want to wet the surface first. Now I just dropped a big old drop. This poor project. Oh my. One drop of water came off my brush. I guess if you wanted to make it look bokeh, you could do that. Oh my gosh. Let's see. One drop. Of course, now that I want it to happen, it won't. There we go. I feel like I've got nothing to lose. I've already done so much on this poor painting. That's a big one. Have fun and experiment with your watercolor. You just don't know what you're going to get until you try. Now, okay, so here you can see there's a bloom coming because this was already drying a lot. And if I tap with a paper towel, I'm going to get a much lighter area. It's certainly unique. Okay, don't keep tapping. All right, we're wetting in between here. Remember to just go right up to the very edge. Okay, first I'm going to drop the yellow in where that's supposed to go. All right, now I'm going to pick up my brighter green color. Come around that. I'm going to pick up just a little bit of this much lighter color, put that in here. Maybe a little bit of it here. Pick up a little bit of dark. Back to the brighter green. Just going to try to incorporate this a little bit better. Okay. Trying to keep my yellow spots more circular. All right, now we can come in between here and wet. Yellow. There's yellow up here. Oops. Bright green. Eeks. You have to work quickly here because the paper's drying, so there's not a lot of time to fuss around. And I don't have a wet edge here, and I want to keep a wet edge. So I'm just going to put some water there so that stays wet. Okay, now black green. You can tip it, get the colors to run. That's quite a bit of the dark. Probably more than I should have put down. I think I'm just making it worse. Okay, now I have to watch my edge if there's a buildup of water and wipe that out. A little bit got on my petal here. Just keep going. Now in between here. Picking up the dark. Tipping. Okay, moving along. I'm gonna wet in here now. You can see my water is getting dirty, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to go on top of this with green anyways. Adding more water here. Okay, picking up dark green. There's a tiny little spot right here where the background shows through. Picking up more dark green. Keep going with my wet edge. Bright green. Dark green. Oops, wrong one. I want a dark green. A little bit more tipping. Still needing to maintain my wet edge here. Sorry, I'm just trying to show you what the paint's doing. It's difficult with me tipping this all over the place, I know. I think you can see it now. I've got one spot left here that doesn't have paint on it. Oh, you're not seeing me. Sorry. I need a cameraman, I think. Okay, black again, black green. Just picking up a little bit of this really light color. Now I can try to lift paint if I want a more obvious circle. I got a damp brush and I'm scrubbing the surface in a circle. And then I'm going to take a paper towel and tap with that. It's not getting all of it, that's for sure. Probably best to do it when it's wetter than, oh, when it's drier. I guess so. It's just a little bit too light. Okay, at this point, I have paint all over the surface. And to a great extent, it's very difficult to control something like this where you're running colors together. But honestly, that can be part of the fun of watercolor because you really don't know exactly what you're going to get with it. I think to me it vaguely resembles the photograph. I don't think there's any sure way of copying it. And I would say wait until this dries and see if any of it lightens up. Another thing you could evaluate is, do you need any more glazing on top of your petals? For instance, if something doesn't look violet enough for you or blue enough for you, do you want to go over that now with a glaze of something else? Or are you happy with it the way that it is? I think on mine, this particular petal is a little bit light. And it probably could use a glaze of the blue plus cobalt violet. And of course, when I say glaze, I mean a thin wash. You could try that. And that made it look more violet. So if you want your petals to lean more violet, I could do the same thing over here. You can go through and put some glazing on to just change the tone a little bit. I could use some on that one too. This side's a little bit more violet. But this is really, it's just a wash on top of what you had. This is now looking light to me. Maybe a little bit on this one and on this one. All these tiny little touches. You can play and play with things, but at a certain point, I guess you have to know when it's time to quit. And I sort of think I'm at that time. I don't know what else I would do with this at this point. I think I'm happy with it the way that it is. So I'm going to call it quits. And I surely hope that you've enjoyed the lesson. I surely hope that you've enjoyed the lesson and learned from it. If there's something in particular you might like to have me teach in a video, leave me a comment and I will consider doing that. It's a little bit spotty, but I think it's okay. Thanks again for joining me for these blue Siberian Iris. And if you would please be so kind as to like and subscribe if you haven't. Share if you think you know somebody who might learn from my videos. That would be ever so helpful. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.